Adult Community Center, A is for aeronautical, just one of our many discussion groups that meet weekly, and this at the center, like literature lovers, genealogy, senior singles, history group, Conejo Valley Writers, and Grupo Social, just to name a few. B is for bingo, of course. This highly popular and highly attended program is held 3 days a week, and a nighttime bingo is held the last Friday of the month, every other month. C is for curling. To help our seniors get excited about the Winter Olympics and Team USA, we turned our entrance to a curling lake. Seniors had a blast pushing curling stones to their target. D is for drumming. On the left, our fit drumming class gives seniors the opportunity to use drumsticks on an exercise ball while listening to upbeat tunes. On the right is our drumming circle class that offers a more spiritual and meditative experience. E is for entertainment life. This Goval Senior Center Commission program hires tribute bands like Frank Sinatra. Is it sound? Fleetwood Mac. Elvis, as well as historical singers and comedians for our seniors to enjoy. F is for 4th of July Home Run Derby. Our senior softballers look forward to this event every year, competing in men's and women's categories for seniors 50 to 90 and better. G is for Global Senior Center Commission. This amazing group of 15 retired seniors earn the majority of the year's budget yearly revenue by facilitating bingo at Global, and in turn, put that revenue earned back into the center to positively impact the quality of life for our seniors. H is for horseshoes. The Gore Horseshoe pits located in the back of the center provide fun and exercise, especially for the 10 to 12 players that meet every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to noon. I is for Italian. Buongiorno, arrivederci. Other foreign languages classes include Spanish and French that meet at the center weekly. J is for jewelry making. Our seniors enjoy this crafty class. K is for knitting. We have an incredibly talented group of knitters at our center, and as you can see from the photo, we could open up our own yarn store. L is for line dancing. This dropping class gives our students and seniors tiny treat to practice their line dancing skills. Line dance, ballroom, tap, jazz, West Coast swing, and belly dance are also offered. N is for Mother's Day Tea Party. We celebrate our senior moms and grandmoms at our annual tea party, where we serve scones, tiny tea sandwiches, mini desserts, and tea, of course. All right, Mr. Mike is going to take you through N through Z.
So I believe on your table you have a copy of our newsletter and the Global Gazette. So we currently mail 200 copies hard mail to people's homes. We give out 2,000 of them every month at the front desk, and we email 4,000 of them all over the country. I had a lady call last week who's in New Jersey and wants to know what she can get her mom into. So we have our email list, how she gets stuff. Okay. O is Open Studio Time. Another one of our volunteer programs They come in and do any kind of media they want. They drop in once a week. They chat, they have fun, and then they do straight art. P, if you haven't been to the all party, you need to come. But we have 15 parties a year over and above all of our other classes, programs, and events. We serve over 2,200 people at those 15 parties. They get a live band, a nice hot meal, a dancing time, and a photo. Cues for quilting. Not only are these works of art, but they also keep you warm. R, Reiki. Reiki is another one of our meditation-based classes that they come in to learn all the different things, and that we have different levels throughout the year. We also have sound bath meditation, and those are a couple of examples of some of our self-help programs. S, social services. So we partner with the illicit agency and more to provide all those services that are over and above what our scope is, but we still want to give those seniors the opportunity to have those services. T is for Tai Chi. So we have over 80 people Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to practice advanced Tai Chi. We also have an introduction class and an intermediate class so they can learn up to the advanced class. U is for ukulele. We have intro to ukulele, level 2 ukulele, and then this is part of our ukulele drop-in group where they just come and play. And then we get to use them for some of our events sometimes because they love being our team. The types of lives are called. E is for Veterans Day breakfast. This is one of my favorite parties. We serve over 300 veterans and their families. They get a great meal. We treat them to a USO show. And we partner with one of the local high schools. Last year we had almost more high school volunteers than seniors. The football team came and acted as servers. The cheerleaders were there acting as a welcoming committee. And every year we have a big line of all the cheerleaders cheering for the best as they come in. There's never not somebody who cries on their way in. Water aerobics. This we offer to the seniors free of charge every summer, Monday and Wednesday at the New Teal High School pool, Tuesday, Thursday at Newbury Park High Schools. Zenio, X. Zenio means friendly and welcoming. If you've ever walked into our front desk and met some of our volunteers, they are the Academy of Zet Santikor. Yoga, self-explanatory, we have lots of yoga options. And Z, Zoom classes. So in pandemic, a lot of our classes went to Zoom so we could keep offering them. We still have the meaning of opera on Zoom, which actually is beneficial because during the pandemic, people moved in with their families. So on our Zoom calls every week, there's a lady from New Jersey, two from San Diego, and one from Orange County, and then of course our locals, but they can still Zoom in and get that class. Okay, now you've had the A to Z's of Bill. I'm going to let Julie come up here and give you the 1, 2, 3s of the Senior Leadership Grand National.
The Senior Nutrition Lunch Program, also known as the SNP, is a federally funded grant program authorized by the Older Americans Act. In Ventura County, the program is administered by the Human Services Agency, Ventura County Area Agency on Aging. This is an extremely affirmed program, which I am choosing to highlight this year. CSCP received a $150,000 grant in July and an amended budget of $175,000 in December. The majority of grant funding goes toward food supplies and kitchen supplies, as well as equipment and staff funds. The program also brings in over $20,000 per year in contributions, which goes back into running the SNP. We changed the SNP hours in 2025 and added an extra 30 minutes for our seniors to enjoy their lunch. Through partnerships with local organizations and senior centers, this county program helps provide nutritious meals, social connection, and supportive services that promote health, independence, and well-being for older adults in our community. These are the different meal sites in Ventura County. As you can see, we're here in orange, and we're the only just congregate meal program. And that means that we are here to provide a safe and social environment for our seniors to come and have a healthy meal. Senior Concerns is right below us in blue, and they provide all of the services for homebound seniors. The other ones are a mix of both. And we also have trainings and we have meetings every quarter with all of the cities, and we get together. We hosted the last one at the Global Center. Some of the program guidelines, actually, the most important and only one is that you have to be 60 plus years old. And it doesn't matter where you live. Income level is not important in this. We do not ask for that. There are no requirements. This is a copy of our intake form that's spelled out every July 1. And people are added to the roster, and then they're good through June 30th. And then we have to complete that again the next year. We work with dietitians to create recipes that meet federal guidelines. Chef Eric has created many new recipes to serve for SNP. A fun fact is we're the only meal site in the county that serves all from scratch meals Monday through Friday. And from scratch in this definition means everything's made in-house. A lot of the other cities have restaurants making their food frozen and bringing in, and then they heat it and serve it. So we're really, really fortunate to be able to have a chef to do that. This is a sample of one of our meals. It comes with 4 ounces of protein, salad, veggies, a grain, fruit, a shelf-stable milk, and a yogurt 3 times a week. And this is just for a $4 suggested contribution. We don't turn anyone away for inability to pay. We also bring our tax preparers meals Monday through Friday. So they are very excited about that. Right here, as you can see on the bottom, is that this year we are expected to serve over 20,000 meals. And this is the most we have ever served in S&P, except for during COVID when we were doing the drive-through. We have 30 volunteers that participate in the SNP. We have 2 in the kitchen, and they're helping prepare food. They're making salads. They're helping serve food. We have someone that is hosting, helping bring water, clearing tables, stuffing napkins, and we have 2 at check-in. These volunteer hours are valued at more than $104,000 per year. There is no way we could do this program at all without our volunteers. We also welcomed Specialist Corey Poindexter to our CSCP team this past September, and she has been a huge help running the SMP, social media, and pretty much all other programming, and she helped us make this wonderful PowerPoint presentation today. Thank you, Corey, if you're watching. And let's hear from a few of our volunteers.
Over 16 years.
Been here for about 4 years. I volunteered doing things all my life, I guess, but I've been here about 4 years. A few years ago, my husband passed away, so this was really a godsend for me to come and be with people and enjoy the atmosphere and suiting everybody and help.
I just love meeting all the people that come in this building, and I love working with all my coworkers. And
Oh God, the benefits. Here again, I think it's just making friends and seeing people. And then seeing the people that we feed the lunches to, how much they enjoy it. That makes me happy too.
well, I feel like you're giving back to your community, and you're reaching different people who benefit from this program, and it brings me joy, and it's very rewarding.
My goodness, they're all good.
Currently, there are 953 participants signed up for SMP. So that starts again on July 1 from 0, and then we're over 1,000 by June 30th, and then we start over. Let's hear from a dad and son.
Been coming here for 50 years or more. I've been here for 3 years. I'm 63. My dad's 88. So he's been coming here for a lot. It's an outgoing thing. We love coming here for lunch. We don't cards. Sam. That's my bear. Salmon. That's not seaweed. The one that takes it. It's okay, everyone is.
VCAAA grantees received a letter last November that they would be shifting control of certain programs to the state on June 30th, 2026. On March 3rd, the Ventura County Board of Supervisors paused this transition to ensure continuity of vital senior services while evaluating the best path forward. I am happy to be a part of the Ventura County Aging Services Coalition that advocated for this pause. We currently meet twice per month, and we are hoping that this pause will allow for a smooth transition when the time comes to change entities. Thank you to the board for your continuing support of the volunteer program, and thank you for having us here tonight. Let us know if you have any questions, comments. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure we do have some questions and some comments. Let's have a run. It's awesome. I wonder if there's any senior centers in the entire nation that are as good as ours. We have such a good senior center. How about if we start with Director Orozco?
Okay, thank you all so much for the wonderful presentation. I wasn't sure you were going to go through the whole alphabet, but you did it. That's how I was very curious how you were going to integrate X or what these demos is going to be, and you nailed it. I just want to say thank you so much for all the hard work that you guys do to provide various services for our senior community. It really is remarkable, particularly for our S&P program, the amount of people that you guys are able to serve and feed. For the suggestion of $4. I know that the world has become a little bit more expensive. How are things in terms of being able to maintain that $4 suggested contribution?
So that's from the county, the $4 suggested contributions. So, I guess yeah. So right now it's interesting because we had an amended budget this year at $175,000. I don't know that that's going to happen next year. And we actually got the same budget like really hurriedly because they weren't even expecting to do one. And then once this happened, they had like 3 days to get us that. And luckily we have the support of CRPD because it's incredible because we would be able to do this. Before this, it was that we pay for CRPD supports us and it's been subsidized by paying for the staff. So when it comes to the food, I think we spent about 110 food and like products from Giordano's, which is who we get our stuff, our vendor. We spend probably about $110,000. And then with the other stuff, we're paying for linen monthly, and that $20,000 is from the $4 suggested contribution. So that's actually not included in the 175. So then there's another 20,000 on top of that, which is a good thing. I'm hoping it's sustainable. We may need to raise that at some point. One thing we don't want to do is limit participants, but there is a point that people may have to put people on wait lists for you schedule reservations. I really hope it doesn't get to that. Yeah, that's why the county they said they were concerned about the funding. So I hope that there's ways to just be able to do something to continue to raise money or support the program.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Director Nichols.
Thank you very much. I'm wondering how many of your participants are seniors compared to just good old adults? You like the card at the doors, so who qualifies to be a senior? Just wondering how that works.
For the 60 plus or lunch.
For those who come into the center itself.
So the center's 18 and over. So we don't have a membership or anything. And we trust they have to put their birth date on for lunch. So for the intake form, and you know what the center, so is so interesting because everything that we run is like there are certain things that are for 55 plus or 60 plus or 65 plus. The lunch, because it's a federal grant, is 60 plus. We just trust them by their birthday. There have been people that we've had to tell, of course, so sorry, you're 58, but we don't ask for ID unless it's like, I don't think we had to. If someone looked 40 and like was arguing with us, we probably, that could happen. Now it's going to happen. But we don't ID people at this point.
I would say that 95% of the seniors that walk through the door are seniors 50 plus.
50 plus.
Yeah, 85% are not seniors.
Okay.
And we don't card anybody unless they say they're 90 and they don't look at us.
Just the reason I asked, I remember one time going through one of those bingo fiascos where you just can't get anywhere because there's so many, it's a mob of people there. And there's a lot of, I would say a lot, there's a fair amount of youngsters in there. It's youngsters, I'm saying, younger than 65. And so I was, wondering, what crowd generally is there, because it seems like generally it's, seniors, but there is to be some type of a mix. I didn't know how that kind of played out through the year.
Bingo, there's definitely, I feel like 30s, 40s in bingo general. There's like a 10% maybe. I don't know. There's some youngsters in bingo who like to gamble.
Big mount. Then my last question is, how many people show up just for lunch as opposed to, hey, I'm going to go there for the day and have lunch while in there? Or they come for a program before or after and lunch is part of that?
I would say we have about 30 regulars that come just for lunch. Okay. 30 people out of like, sometimes we have like 70, 80, 90 a day. And I would say we have about like 30 regulars that come specifically for that.
Okay. I'm sorry. I did have one more question. The picture showed quite a lineup there for food. Does everybody show up like right when it opens and everybody wants the food right now? Doesn't kind of string out? Or how does that work?
They're getting smarter. The additional 30 minutes actually really helped. And I feel like when those lines happen, it's because we're serving chicken thighs or salmon. It's like very specific of what their favorite meal is. So they want to get there because, a lot of the time with those, Eric will make meal like enough for 110 people. And if we run out, it'd be maybe like if we have tuna sandwiches from the day before. But generally people kind of come throughout. But the 30 minutes from the 12:30 to 1 has been like super beneficial to not having everyone come at the same time.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I was a little concerned with a lunch hour is only an hour, and a lot of times it should be 90 minutes or more, just to, especially in a social environment. So thank you for that. Glad to hear that things are still progressing, and hopefully we can get this funding issue resolved. Thank you for that. Thanks.
Director Bus. I just will say thank you to all of you for everything you do, because I think that that's why we have so many seniors who age in place here, is because they have such a wonderful senior center to come to and to have camaraderie. When I was on the board of senior concerns, they talked about how depression shortens seniors' lives, and you don't really think about that, but like that lady saying how her husband died, and luckily she had people to come and see and had that to help her through that. I can only imagine. So thank you so much. So I'm curious because I heard about the whole thing with the county, and so the funds come down from the federal government to the county, and they basically wanted to somehow hand it back to them, to the state, can we do it locally? Like, is that where we're pausing it and we're going to transition and like senior concerns is going to take it over? Or is it like has to go to the state?
Yeah, none of this. So it's the Older Americans Act, right? And then it goes to the California Department on Aging, which then it goes to the county. And it would have to go to the state, but has to be an entity in the county. So, and there's a lot of rules that come along with it. So like senior concern, if you read like the rules, like a lot, maybe like a food share could take it on, but there's like a lot of different things that come to pass. I don't even think, because Andrea, like senior concerns is that coalition. I don't even think that there's like so much funding that you have to have and so much staff that you have to have that it's really like the VC AAA, I mean, there was, 40 employees there because it's not just the food programs, it's the health insurance counseling and advocacy and the ombudsman program and all of these different programs that they wanted to shift away from and hand it off to another entity. And there was not enough time to be able to do this for anyone to even be able to get funding or to be able to work with vendors or be able to have staffing. It just, none of it made sense.
So locally, then it's basically like the county either decides to keep it or we don't really have anyone else that can step up.
Well, people apply and they had put that out the first week of March. It was supposed to go out earlier in February. And one of the questions, because there had been a few meetings, no one had actually applied at that point. And then they called for the pause because I think that, or they voted on it. And I think people realized that like the timeline wasn't right and that if they want this to happen, it needs to be done responsibly. So if you go back to that like Board of Supervisors meeting, and then there was another one that we went to, I think in like February, there just unfortunately wasn't, no one could really answer any questions.
Well, why does the county just keep doing it though?
That's, yeah.
No one answers.
So
I followed it briefly, but I was like, I wasn't quite sure how this all happened. And then I was like, because these are really important. I mean, I have door knocked this like whole Conejo Valley throughout my years. And it's like, you have no idea how many seniors are living by themselves. And it's like these type of things to bring them together and give them that, it's a really important community service for all of us. Like,
these are like huge programs. And hopefully they had brought someone new on that I feel bad because I think he was sort of expected to deal with this situation. But unfortunately, I don't think they ran it by enough people and they thought it was going to be this smooth transition, which wasn't going to happen, which is eventually why they decided. I think it was kind of, pushed to, we have to keep this until, and if you go back, there's like reasons like with IHHS and things that they explain why they were trying to transfer it. I don't know that they were great reasons, but there was just a lot that they weren't able to answer. So
yeah, and it's like the nonprofits in this community are amazing and do amazing work, but they're pretty bare bone.
yeah.
Like most nonprofits here are just like how you calculated out hours of volunteer hours are worth. I mean, it's mostly ran by volunteers. They don't have enough money in budget for staff.
So even at Lake Color, I'd be surprised. It would be really hard for a nonprofit because one of the things that they said is that, they can do fundraising. And every nonprofit said, we already do fundraising for our programs. Like, we can't really do more fundraising. So right now they're looking at like different counties throughout and different nonprofits that are running it. Like there have been ones that have been successful, but they're very few and far between, and it's really minimal. It's usually like the county or a government organization that runs the programs.
Yeah, which makes sense. So I was curious because I do have a senior in mind. How do they apply? Do they come to the front desk or can they do it online?
The intake form is online, but they can also just come in. And we give them a form at the front desk in our office. If they come during lunch, they go down to check in. They fill out the form. It takes about 2 minutes, and then they hand out lunch that day.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Huffer.
I want to thank the three of you for your presentation. The A to Z. I'm always amazed by everything that's going on over at the Global Center. And I know somewhere in the past you had given us a presentation primarily on the parties. It seems like you guys have a party about every other week, so having a lot of fun. I do want to, I don't very often go over to the Global Center at lunchtime. I was over there, happened to be over there yesterday, and I was amazed to see how packed the lunchroom was with people enjoying a meal and enjoying the friendship and camaraderie over there. So certainly a testament to popularity. Hopefully you are able to handle everybody, because it seems like it's growing every year. And at some point, maybe you'll have to knock down some walls, get more space for somebody. It's great to see the folks over there. And one of the folks you were interviewing there asked them what their favorite meal was, and Personally, mine is the egg salad sandwich, but I'm unfortunately not there most of the days when you're actually serving that.
Tomorrow.
And the other thing I regret, I was not there for St. Patrick's Day when you had the corned beets. That got some rave reviews. So thank you for what you're doing for our community seniors. I know they appreciate it and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
So thank you for all of your comments and questions. I have a couple of observations. I love the Global Center. You all know that. I've talked about it, a lot. I try not to repeat all the things that I love about the Global Center, but I was interested in your presentation because I wrote down drumming, Reiki, sound bath, and Tai Chi. So hopefully you'll see me over there for some of those things. That sounded fun. I really kind of like that idea of hitting the exercise balls. It's kind of a new way to use exercise balls, but that sounded fabulous. I was wondering, when you have so many people that have signed up for the meal program, you said you have like 593, but they don't all come every day, correct?
No. So 892, and then they can come literally one time and then never come again. But they have to sign up. But we serve about, probably on average, about 100 a day.
So you just are sort of estimating how many are going to come. That's what I was wondering. When you have that many, you kind of just have a feel for how many will be coming?
Yeah, and like Tuesdays and Fridays are bingos, so we know we'll probably get 20 more. Let's hope good. Wednesdays is social dancing, so that's usually like our busiest day with like 110, and then we know based on the food, on what is being served. They're not a fan of sandwiches. I love the sandwiches, just like you, Chuck. I like them, but there are certain days, and then we also have, yearly spreadsheet of, the daily meal averages every day. It kind of has just been all over the place, but definitely based on meals and days of the week.
So I guess you publish what the meals are, like you have a monthly calendar or something?
We have a monthly, we do have a monthly that we have to send to the dietitians on the 15th of every month to get everything cleared. And like, they have every single recipe. So we have like 50 different recipes that she has to have to get approval. Because everything has like low sodium and dietary standards. But we do a weekly menu, which is posted on Friday for Monday. And we have the menus printed there at the dining car at the cafe and the flyer rack, and then it's also on our website.
Okay, so that sounds fabulous. And also, I know you were focusing mainly on the senior meal program. However, I think that it was mentioned we would not really have all of the services that we have in this community if you were not coordinating the entire senior volunteer program. I mean, we have so many senior volunteers all over this community that, again, most nonprofits can't afford to pay people. And it's wonderful for the seniors to come up, step up. And I know that it's, not only helps the community, but as they said, they make a lot of friendships. You feel worthwhile, you're making a difference. So thank you so much for all of you do. I think that this is one of the great things of our community. So thank you. I don't have any cards here for any items from the public. Do we have anybody online who would like to speak? No? Okay, then we'll move on. Do I have approval of the agenda? Okay, Sam, the second? I'll second. Do we have any discussion on that? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Number 6, the consent calendar A and B. Do I have an approval?
I'll move approval of consent calendar items A and B.
Do we have a second, Paula? Second. Any discussion? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Any deferred matters? None that I know of. All right, I'm going to open up our public hearing for the budget for the fiscal year of 2026, 2027. Do we have any discussion on that?
No, this is just an opportunity for the public to make comments. And the next time we'll have changes for you guys will be the first meeting in May. So we'll have one more meeting where it's just a public hearing.
Okay, nothing today.
And we have no public? Okay, so we're gonna close that meeting. Oh, I guess that was a preliminary, thank you. Any other items for discussion before we move on? No? All right, new items. Number 9A are Madam Clerk, will you please read our new item?
Yes, item 9A, multi-agency agreement for weed abatement services over a 5-year period, 2026 to 2030, and total amount of $1,009,890.35 plus $200,000 for extra services.
Thank you. I do not see Director Mooney here. Who would like to take this?
Aloha, Madam Chair. Yes, Mr. Mooney and his family are in Hawaii at this point. So I am going to take this agenda item. It is an item that has been in front of the board, but if you haven't been here for 5 years, it's been a while. So the the community is surrounded by natural open space and older developments primarily. We didn't quite have the brush clearance standards down as developments were approved, and leaving the public agencies to have to be concerned with whether the 100-foot brush clearance was clear. Newer developments and tracts generally had that accounted for in the development. So as the city continued to develop, the newer tracts either had the brush clearance on their own private parcels, on HOA parcels, or the conditions of approval required the HOA to take care of the brush clearance. So it's not that we do it in the entire open space system, it's only certain areas. So both the city, COSCA, and CRPD have a pretty healthy chunk of area. It's interesting, COSCA and the CRPD are very similar in size in terms of the parcels they own and the areas that you do the brush clearance. The city's actually about as big as both COSCA and CRPD together, so they're almost double, like say CRPD. So this time, how we did it is the city, the park districts, and COSCA there was a staff committee. They did the request for proposals. They received the proposals. There was an evaluation committee. They went with SoCal Brush as the recommended provider of the brush clearance services. The city took this item to the board for the city parcels at their last city council meeting, or maybe 2 city council meetings ago on March 24th, was probably the last one. And they approved it. It's substantially the same as the city's. It's about 1.7 cents a square foot. So it's doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have 10 million square feet between COSCA and CRED, that ends up being about $200,000 a year, or both COSCA and CRPD for a total of $1 million over the 5-year contract term. There are 2 one-year options to renew. With that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Frito. Director Copper.
Yeah, John, I'm just wondering, how does the 550,000 our portion of this contract compare to what we've done in past years?
So that amount is pretty comparable. I think it's about a 20% increase from the last year, the last contract. So they fell behind a little because the escalators in their contract kind of kept them a little back. So it's about 20% more than we paid last year. It kept be about 5 plus 2 extensions. So no.
Yeah, it fits into our permanent.
Yes.
And thank you.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay, can I have a motion to recommend? Director Nickel.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and make a motion to authorize the general manager to enter into multi-agency agreement as recommended by staff.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
So we're going to move on to our reports and announcements.
So I do not think Mr. Mooney is going to say anything here, so he's now even on our agenda. So, Director Callis. Oh, I'm sorry. I went on to department reports. I'm way ahead of Lisa. So, is there any questions that anybody has or comments on 10A or 10B, our recreation highlights or investment report? No. Okay, now. Thank you, Chair Cuthbert, members of board. Right, guys. Thank you.
I actually don't have any reports today. We did have Flashlight Egg Hunt, so I don't know how many people went to Flashlight Egg Hunt. It was a success. We do have some things that we'll work on for next year. But it was a great success. Our teams at 5 parks did a wonderful, wonderful job, and we passed out many Parker rabbits, I have heard. So it was a lot of fun. And I think there's a lot of good stuff coming up on the calendar, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you. We have any questions for Director Callis? Okay, moving on. Director Smith.
Thank you, Chair Cuthbert, board members. Oh, I'm sorry. So since our last meeting, we met with the Finance and Audit Committee. Thank you, Directors Huffer and Buss, and our municipal advisor for the acquisition and getting financing for acquiring the hill. We discussed different structures that we could use, whether or not a private placement or a public bond format would be better. Based on the flexibility and the speed in which we could get a private placement, we're pursuing that option first. We do have the option to change if we don't like that, but we met with the financial advisor also today and are preparing to release the RFP next week. So we should hear back in a couple weeks about what our options are for financing. So with that, I'm available for any questions.
Have any question? Okay. Mr. Friedel.
I'm gonna kind of give you a little taste of what's coming up on the agenda. On April 16th, we're gonna have our McCrae Ranch field tour at 4 p.m. before the meeting. That's gonna give us an opportunity to show you the kinds of things that will be on the agenda for an action item later that night. McCrae Ranch is reaching 100 years, and so staff has been working with reps from the McCrae Ranch Foundation and trying to work on a bigger sort of comprehensive matching grant program. We're 7 years away from the actual 100-year anniversary, so we have a concept that we're going to bring that night about a big matching grant to kind of take care of the old ranch and all the work that needs to happen. Because right now, the way our $25,000 match works is, you're able to take on a $50,000 project that there's work there that requires more money than that now. So, but it's a longer term plan that we're going to bring to you that night. We're also going to have the 520 Court Johnson Road. It's going to City Council on April 14th. They are basically giving it to us for $1. So what I'm going to ask each of you is to bring 2 dimes each, and you're going to donate that to CRP to purchase the park from the city.
Do we get our name?
Then you will say that this part, the 5 of you personally bought that part for the.
But if we do that through Play Conejo, then the 20 cents will be tax deductible. Yeah.
3x6, do that.
Actually, gifts to local government agencies are also tax deductible. In case I was watching. But yeah, that'll be kind of fun. And then I guess Mariz already talked about financing, and then if we're gonna get into the budget stuff after that. So that's all coming up. This is going down the dais. It's just letting you know who's the slate for the CARPD board, the slate of candidates. And I realized Doug's not there. It's been a while since I've seen you on the list there. So Doug's cycling off. But if you're going to the CARPD conference and stuff, that's the slate. The Ventura Land Trust, if you're not familiar with them, they're a land trust, and they're purchasing and managing land around the city of Ventura. They are, local open space agency, and so they're a little similar to Costco, except Costco's got government funding, and they're not as directly connected with government funding. So, but they have an idea of doing a Ventura County economic impact of open space study, kind of like an impact study and the value of open space. And so they've invited COSCA, CRPD. They're trying to bring other open space up. I don't know. I went to a meeting with 20 other open space agencies and kind of adjacent agencies to kind of have a meeting. So they're going to try to do a May hands make like work ask and have everyone chip in a little bit of money to help fund the study countywide to kind of provide a report on the economic value of both the space. So that's kind of bubbling out there. That's going to probably surface in the next 6 months. And then you guys might mention it, but BCSCA is on Tuesday night. Ledge Days is also Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know if any board members are willing to Sacramento for that, but 2 staff members are. And then Cost is Wednesday night, and this weekend is Easter. With that, I'm available for questions.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Friel? Director Hupper?
I'm guessing that it's being driven by the recent headlines of the lady who got bit by a rattlesnake and died, but it seems like all of a sudden the community is discovering that there are rattlesnakes out there, though as far as I know, they've been out there forever. But I know we had signs on some of our parks, and it's probably more of a Costa than the park district. But are we doing anything additional to address the public concerns, or?
Actually, yes. So we're making sure that all the kiosks for the trailheads have signs, Costa CRPD. There's a public service announcement the Rangers did that's on social media that's pretty good. It's pretty fresh. A serious trad gag. It some of my own digging on the internet. I couldn't find anything I felt totally definitive of, but I did see stuff that I think was published in either the Acorn or the Star, I don't remember. But basically, in the U.S., 5 to 8 people who, out of the 8,000 people that are bit by a venomous snake in the country, only 5 to 8 people die. So it's a pretty rare thing, and I can say I would remember if somebody else had died while I've been here in 23 years in CRPD, and I cannot recall anyone ever actually dying from a rattlesnake bite. So really unfortunate and tragic. But this is a year that is definitely different because of the early abundant rain and then that incredible heat we had through March. It just moved everything up a month, 6 weeks. That would characterize it. So it's like they were just out way sooner than England kind of had been used to.
Yeah, I remember years ago, one had a young man as a patient who his hobby was going out collecting rattlesnakes, and he been bit any number of times and finally got to the point where I guess his body no longer had any resistance to it. He didn't die, but he just spent some time in the hospital. So I guess people need to be a little more aware.
Swahili. And thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's move on to our director's reports. Director Hupper.
I really don't have that into report. I believe we had our Budget and Finance Committee meeting somewhere in the last couple of weeks, and we'll be dealing with or discussing what was recommended in that committee meeting. But other than that, I don't recall any other amounts.
Okay, thank you, Director Bell.
I should clarify my rattlesnake hiking statement. So 15 years ago in January, I was 9 weeks pregnant, and we thought it would be a good idea to be healthy and go on a hike in Wildwood. We had our 2 beagles with us on leash, short leashes, and it was a warm day, and one of them Danny was in front. We were actually in the back by where the waste, you can see like the waste plan. We're on the thin ver of the trail. We're going through, and our beagle sticks his nose in a bush just straight up the trail and gets it right in the face. $16,000 later, he was still alive. Yeah. Every credit card was maxed out. We were like broke. And yeah, I had to go ask the credit union to literally up my credit card limit to pay for him. Yeah, it was so crazy. And I was 9 weeks pregnant and like, oh my gosh, again, I might not die. So yeah, so he still he lived, but he ended up getting 2 animal antivenoms and it had given him a human antivenom. That is why it like kept like going up, and it was like $3,000 like each one. It was like, yeah. So that's why I jokingly say to flight oak hike. I do hike, but not often because I am scared of rattlesnakes. Because he wasn't like, you were like, oh, he was off the leash. I'm like, no, not at all, and on a short leash. It was just a beautiful day in January. So it was pretty crazy. But yeah, so other than that, what do I have? I didn't really, yeah, we did the finance committee meeting. I did Conejo, the other committee that you and I am on for the master plan. We did have that meeting too. And then I'm going to Mammoth. Hopefully there's still some snow for spring break, and won't be hiking, but hopefully get out in there and it won't be all slush. We'll see. They did get 2 days of snow though. So that's all I have for you. So, oh, and then as I sold shocks, sign up again. Email of my team, 16U. Let's bring it back. Run it back one more time, ladies. Let's go. So I already got a couple parents that have texted me, emailed me. Their kids are excited. I just need Chuck to move up my 11-year-old to the 16U team that she doesn't know I'm about to ask him for.
It's not hectic. I think this should be fine. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Director Bess. Director Nichols.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, we did have our master plan committee meeting. We also, several of us attended the Youth Leadership Forum, which was, it's always encouraging to see youth that are engaged into their local community, various levels. That was it. It was also very educational for me to hear their concerns, and there was as those that were there know there was a list of previously discussed concerns that they were wanting to talk about, and mental health did come up several times at the 3 groups that we had. But it was interesting, the category of mental health could mean one thing to another group and another thing to the other group. And how that played out was kind of interesting, how they kind of all package it together. But I was taking some notes, and I'm going to share those with our staff. One of the things that I found very interesting was that the youth that were, what should I say, more in the honor roll system, that are kind of trying to push forward and really pushing themselves, were afraid to talk to counselors about the stress they were undergoing. And so all they've been talking about is what's the next class that you have to take. And so they feel they had nowhere to go because they don't want to talk to the parents about it. They don't want there's no counselor because the counselors aren't counseling. You're just doing, talking about school. And that they felt like they had nowhere to go for counseling. And I thought of our youth outreach program, how we do kind of reach out to maybe some of the youth at risk. Right now, well, I wonder if that's an option for just any student who wants to stop in and just, I want to talk to somebody. So that'd be nice if we could do something like that. So room for improvement always. I did not personally attend the flashlight egg hunt, but members of our family did, and they had a great time as usual. And I had passed an article to the general manager from the Acorn. It was getting the school district credit. For park district, but kids asked first step. I wanted to make sure that was corrected on the front page of the next day. Just make sure Becca know that we can read those letters. So yeah, that's all as far as the updates. Thank you.
Thank you. And Director Roscoe.
Yeah, I had a youth build week last week. I attended the SDAC panel that was posted at the school district, and it was myself alongside other elected officials in the community, which helped Ascension, members of, and all of the school board members, and so our city council members. And we gave an overview of what it was like to participate in local government and why we chose public service and how they could get involved more so than they already are because they're very active and engaged. And then 2 days later, I attended the Youth Leadership Summit and sat with Chair or Doug Pickles, Director Nichols, and we had very similar. We had the same conversations with our young folks, our highly engaged young folks, and that I think is I think that I attended.
Thank you. So the meeting you went to on Monday, call me again. What was that about? What was the name of that meeting?
As a staff, the student forget what is the DCF for? Yeah, student districts. Is basically a coalition of all of our youth that are elected or participating in like their local student body. Okay. And they were all there to learn more, or we were actually invited to participate in their meeting. And for that meeting, they assembled a panel of local elected officials and had invited TRFE to participate and asked us very robust questions as to be expected. And yeah, it was very engaging and a unique opportunity to hear, not just share, but also hear about, the journeys that our fellow electeds have been on and is their engagement in community and their messaging to keep our youth engaged.
Okay, very good. So you had a very youth-filled week.
Yes.
Okay, so I was also at the Youth Commission. One thing I noticed that I've been going to Youth Commission for many years is usually the kids we're talking to are very high performers. Most of the kids that were in my group were in high school, some of them juniors, all of them college bound. Their biggest concerns were finding volunteer things so they could put it on their resumes. I was there with Sarah. She was kind of promoting the teen center, but I don't know if these were the kids.
Of course, once you're getting older, cars, they're kind of going out. A lot of them were talking about going into Westwood and doing a lot of things. I was young, and so
Westwood, Teen Thunder. Yeah. But, when you get a little bit older, and then also I think that they, were well-funded youth. And so I'm wondering if there's some way that we could have something that would get a different population, because usually the kids that are applying to be on this youth commission, sometimes I've asked, why did you decide to do this? My mom told me I had to. Trying to get, ideas for college and things like that. And that may not always be the kids that the teen center would be benefiting. Maybe. So I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. But there might be younger kids or maybe kids that are not in the families that these sorts of kids are in that might be benefiting a lot of our teen population. And so that was just a suggestion I have over going to it. But I always enjoy it. That was very nice. And then I was at a state coach board meeting, and then Raquel and I met with Andy, the vice president of VCSDA, to make plans for next year. So I hope all of you can come to our incredible meeting that we're having on Tuesday. And I think we'll have a good turnout. We'll be having the superintendent of Channel Islands will be there. And you can just order from Harbor Co. whatever you want for dinner. So that's kind of cool. We'll sit outside by the harbor. Sounds like a fabulous evening. Well, Mountain sounds maybe a little better. Well, I don't know. Harbor, he does sound lovely. Yeah, we live in a really beautiful place. We're very, very fortunate. We have kind of erratic weather lately, but we do. And I'm very interested, Mr. Friel, on the economic value of open space. It'd be nice to be able to if we monetize things, it seems like it sometimes makes it more valuable, I guess. So, okay. So another one of our record-breaking short meeting. I've got two of my grandchildren staying with us for the weekend, and then my granddaughter wanted to have her friends spend the night at her house. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So right now, Marley's with them. Maybe should I just didn't look good malls? Daisy, what's going on at our house right now? With two 14-year-olds and a 7-year-old. Okay, so do we have any requests for any status reports or items for subsequent agendas? No? Yet?
I'd like to make a request. Thank you, Madam Chair. As a follow-up to the youth forum, and also some of the comments made regarding the Global Center this evening, I've often realized that we have a lot of involvement in social services in a variety of ways. I think it would be beneficial to have like an accounting of sorts of all the social services that the park district does provide, either solely through our efforts or in partnership with other entities, and to kind of see it all in one place, because I have had this sense that being on the eastern side of the county, it seems like a lot of social services are offered in other areas and not so much here. And so kind of like by de facto, the park district has adopted some of these things. Like I said, not necessarily individually, but in partnership with others. And I think it'd be helpful if we could just, like I said, have an accounting and kind of explain what are all those social services. And because I think there's a lot more than we realize, because we just hear little snippets here and there. So I don't know if that requires a full report or a presentation or something, but I think that would be nice to see it all in one place, or hear about it all at one time, and kind of be overwhelmed with what we do.
No, that'll be fun, actually.
So, Mr. Frito, how will that look with your staff? Is this something that you can pull your staff together to figure out is somewhat of a time period? Or, yeah, what do you think?
I mean, we'll talk, but we have 1,000 programs that are offered in the brochure, but many of them are purely rec, but there's definitely some that are social service programs, and then
Just by the nature of what we do, instantly, seniors nutrition is not recreation, that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll be on.
No, yeah, most of it's through Global Center, so we'll be able to get a list of.
an outreach, and
Yeah, but
that's like recreation, that.
no, yeah, yeah.
We'll good.
I'll have it to you in last meeting in May.
Okay.
Great, thank you. That'll be very interesting. Thank you, Director Nicole.
Do we have any items from the public? I don't know.
Yeah, no, we're having a technical issue. We're thinking the audio might not be working, and there is a person on that we can't communicate with.
Oh.
So yeah, I think we can't do business, but the business is already done.
So should I have him call Miss
No.
Okay. Actually, I don't think we can message them, right?
No, if we only have a Q&A set up, so she has to ask me a question for me to answer. I can't just...
Like, she has the ability to do that as far as show?
Yeah, if she wants to, she can send in a question.
But we think she can't hear us.
She can't hear...
She can't hear.
That's the issue.
okay, so can you ask her if she has a question and yes.
You going through on my end? I'm not sure if there's an issue with Zoom. Like the part here that sent audio from here through Zoom is working. I'm not sure where it's getting lost.
I don't know. We did sound check at 4. It was working. So
Yeah, this person just joined.
this person just joined like a minute ago.
So I don't know what we would do.
Ew. How do you know they can't hear us?
I have Mark watching, and he can't hear.
Outside auditor, so Simon, which
When we do post it, we do a backup audio that we can post the the video with, but I don't know how to address the one person on.
And maybe they don't have anything to say. And or Mark post a question in the chat. He's left so that he just left, yes. You were ending. I was like, well, maybe he could post it and then say, and then she could see in the chat if she wanted to say it.
Has this ever happened before?
No. We don't know why.
Okay. So, I guess that will be a request for subsequent agendas. So we just our audio not it doesn't make much sense for us to have meetings if nobody can hear us. So
We'll go back to old school. Please show up.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I was going to give her a message, but I can't. So I guess we will. We do not have an executive closed session, so I will adjourn this meeting to April 16th.
I'm very excited. My 48-hour window opened to 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Bigots?
Tickets.
Seriously.
So you got look. See, happy. See, because they had emails 3 days ago that said